There's a buzzword going around in the Outschool learning community, and that word is pods. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey with Teaching Online with Kelsey, and I do videos about my life as a full-time online teacher, and I also create videos to serve other Outschool teachers on their teaching journey as well. And make sure it's not the last time that you see me by hitting that red subscription button and the bell down below to be notified of a new video every Wednesday on my channel, and to also give the video a thumbs up. It helps support the channel, and your support means everything to me. This video today is brought to you by my new newsletter. You will receive weekly updates of upcoming videos, new courses on Outschool and Skillshare, and other products before anyone else. And also my free guide on how to work more efficiently on my Teachers Pay Teachers website. Please make sure you head on over there to download your guide and to also give a like and follow on my Teachers Pay Teachers profile too. In this video, I want to talk about the word pods or learning pods, specifically for Outschool teachers, with this buzzword going around about a learning pod. So you may be having some questions and wondering, what is a learning pod? What is this pod that parents and teachers are talking about? And is it something that I want to do for my teaching job and for my teaching business? So per Outschool, what a pod is, a learning pod, is a group of learners who attend classes together, and they're typically formed by parents collaborating to create a schedule of classes that meet the learner's needs for a period of time. So the general idea that I am understanding about learning pods on Outschool is that it is a small group of learners who come together and they learn certain subjects together. They're the same group of kids that go around and take the same classes together. So it's almost like a in-person classroom simulation, but it's only with just a small group of learners and not 20. So the general idea that I'm getting about pods is that they are great for connecting and seeing other friends like a classroom, and that they see them on consistent days and consistent times. Another general idea that I am understanding about learning pods is that learning pods are truly catered to children's needs. And so whatever their learning needs are. Maybe there's a group of children that need skills, more math skills. Or maybe there is a group of learners that they're all around the same age and it's in a homeschooling group. And so they're wanting to get math, science, and English all within a certain time frame of their learning. They're all doing that together for a semester or half semester or however long they want to do the course. Now you may be thinking, well, pods sound really fun. It sounds like a great idea that there's a set of students that want to learn something that they want to learn at this time, and that we're able to reach those needs for them. That's great. It's wonderful. So how are learning pods created, essentially? So as of August 2021, because learning pods have been around for about 2-3 weeks, close to a month at this point, pods are done manually right now. There is actually, however, a test pilot program that Outschool is starting for parents and teachers alike. So there's one portal for parents where parents can fill out a Google Doc form saying, I'm interested in joining a pod. And so Outschool will put them in a pod based on what their needs are for their child. And then for the teacher side is what's going to be if a group of teachers want to start their own pod together. And there's a Google Doc form for that group to fill out their form and what kind of courses that they're going to offer and what time and what days and that sort of thing, which we'll get into more about that later. But as of right now, the way that pods have been forming and starting up on Outschool is that parents reach out to the teacher and they have a discussion. They communicate with the teacher, hey, my child and some other students that we know would like to start a pod together where we have these subjects for these days, and on these times we can all agree on these days and times to have the lessons. Would you be willing to teach those lessons during that time? So these courses can be a half semester or a semester long course, or maybe something similar to what a school year might be for certain subjects, essentially. And parents have a choice, actually, in terms of whether they have a group of students like with their child that are going to join in on the group, or if the parents are willing to be open to new learners coming in and joining in on the journey too. So that's completely between the parent and the teacher on how they want to form their pod. But because pods are done manually as of August 2021, communication is absolutely key to starting up a successful pod and having a successful pod experience. Now, on the flip side, not only do parents can start pods, but teachers, groups of teachers can also collaborate together to start their own pods for certain subjects. So I know there are kindergarten pods, there are first grade, second grade, pretty much all the way up to 12th grade pods. There are grade level pods available for parents to try to dig into if they like. So, but there are groups of teachers that can group together, and there can be one teacher that will teach math. And then there's another teacher that the math teacher will go, okay, so if you're wanting science, make sure to sign up for this course with Mrs. So-and-so. So they'll recommend each other to keep their pod together, essentially the group of learners, their pod together in teaching the same subjects. The whole idea of the pod is the same children consistently together learning the same lessons. Like I said, just like a regular school classroom. How most, at least elementary students, would learn all their subjects together and on the same days and same times. So, but it's not just academic pods that are around. That's the cool thing about it, about these pods that I'm hearing about. So there are pods where there can be for like special needs, like neurodivergent groups. There's also pods for just extracurricular activities. There's also, arts pods. So if you want to take just music classes or art classes or movement classes, there are pods that are tailored to those things as well. That's another thing to consider if you are a parent watching this and you are wanting to start a learning pod for your learner, is you have to communicate with the teacher and tell and just be direct with the teacher, like, my child is needing X, Y, and Z. Would you be willing to teach these subjects on these days and at these times? And then of course it's up to you if you already have other learners to join with your child, or if you're open to other learners coming in to the pod. So if you are a teacher on Outschool and you have listened to my conversation about learning pods and you're thinking, this sounds like a great idea, I think I may want to start a pod.
How do I start a pod?
I get it. So the trend that I am seeing for Outschool classes starting, the learning pod format, in order to create a pod manually, obviously you would need to have a parent communicate with you that they are interested in starting a pod, and then just having that communication back and forth with the parent, like what kind of pod, like what kind of learning experiences are you looking for your child. And so if they're, you know, maybe it's a homeschooling group, so you need to incorporate a little bit of math, science, history, all of it, you know, then you would have to create separate sections for the pod. So you got one section for math, one section for science, one section for English, and ideally what's easiest is a multi-day format. And a multi-day format that's going to meet about a semester long. So most people do about 10 to 12 weeks. That's about a semester's length. But of course, if you only need like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or maybe even a little longer, obviously that is something you would have to communicate with the teacher with and just come to agree, like this is how long the class is going to be. So for multi-day, for the teacher, you're going to have to do some math on how much you want to charge each learner per week. And so you'll get that full amount on that first week in terms of pay. So also keep that in mind too. I have seen ongoing sections of pods, although I did hear from another teacher to kind of steer clear from the ongoing section. I mean, unless you feel like it is absolutely necessary to make it ongoing, like maybe like a circle time class, or maybe, you know, something that would be considered extracurricular or a club, you know, unless it's appropriate to make it ongoing, since there are schools that can sign up for Outschool classes, you know, to take Outschool classes together. To the charter school side of things, it's much easier to pay everything up front for the multi-day format as opposed to ongoing, because ongoing is more like a subscription than a one-time fee for a year or whatever, you know. So for charter schools, that seems to be a little more complicated to reimburse the respective people for ongoing subscriptions as opposed to just paying it in full with a multi-day format. So just keep in mind, if a parent wants to do a learning pod with you, that they might be coming from a charter school point of view on the charter side of things. So try to lean more towards the multi-day option if you can, and keep it about 10 to 12 weeks. Like I said, unless the parent specifies otherwise. And then your pod should also be pretty small. So ideally, the ideal size for a pod would be about 6 to 8 children in there. So if it gets to be too big, you know, it can be really overwhelming to keep up with everyone. And then obviously the smaller the better. So if there is only 2, you know, that's okay, as long as if you're offering a fair rate for it and you're meeting for so long for it, I don't really see an issue with it. Obviously your pricing is up to you on how much you want to charge for the multi-week pod classes, essentially. And then when you do create the actual format of your pod class, make sure to clearly put in the description that it is a pod class setting. So that's why when you put in the description, whether it's a flex class or an ongoing class, you know, that you clearly put that in your description for all your classes, just those expectations for the parents, so that way you're satisfied with your classes and parents are satisfied with your classes too. So make sure that you do put in the description that this is a pod class setting, so that way if families just sign up for it and it's not the same consistent kids coming in and there's one random friend that just comes in, you know, then that one friend may be left out of the group, because obviously the other friends that have stayed together with the other courses would be building rapport with each other. So then when that one friend for that one class comes in, they're gonna feel left out. So we don't want that. So just make sure, clear description, it's a pod class. And it may even prompt parents to send you a message and go, hey, what do you mean by a pod class? Can you share some more information with me? It could also lead to those questions too. So another thing to also keep in mind for learning pods is, yes, teachers can collaborate together on making certain classes together where one teacher teaches this subject, the other this, another that, and they all work together to make their own pods that families can come in. Or you could be a solo pod teacher where you run everything in the courses. So you teach all the subjects that the families are wanting out of it. You teach that. So, and that's your choice if you want to co-teach and collaborate with other teachers, or if you feel better doing it by yourself. That is completely up to you. And then parents can decide if they have a certain group of friends and other children that their child is friends with to do pods together, or if they're open to meeting new friends that would have pretty similar interests to what your child might be interested in learning too. So this has definitely been a learning experience so far, and because learning pods are still in its infancy, there's still a lot of learning and growth out of this process. And I'm really glad that parents actually took the initiative to kind of have this pod idea of like the same group of kids seeing each other on these certain days and times to take these certain subjects together. It's like the closest thing you can get to like an in-person school setting without actually being in an in-person school setting. And especially now with deltoid various, the way that that's been going, now would be the chance more than ever to look into learning pods as a parent and look into running a pod yourself as a teacher. So if you have any additional questions for me about learning pods or about Outschool, please leave a comment down below. And then if you want to be an Outschool teacher, I do have my link down below that you can start your process with. And then just feel free to send me an email to let me know, hey, I signed up to be an Outschool teacher, and I can help you along in that process. And friends, I also have links down below, so make sure to check out those links too. That really helps support me and this channel. And as I've mentioned before, your support means everything to me. So thank you for watching this video today, and I will see you next time.